Hello YouTube, my name is SSJGazhan99 and welcome back to my deck updates. This is an update for my zombie deck for the April 2015 ban list, which includes things like the Erettas for what ones have we got? Sinister Serpent, we've got things like Ring of Destruction and things like that have all come back onto the list, and this is my deck for this specific format. This is one of my decks, sorry, for this specific format. I'm actually a UA player, which I quite enjoy, and I'm also a zombie player, so again, this is why I've gone with this one. Now, I do apologise if my camera keeps fuzzing out. I'm not too sure why it keeps doing this. It's just getting on my nerves. So every now and again, I'm going to twist the camera around a little bit like that, and normally it readjusts itself like so. But yes, so let's get on with it. Zombie deck, right? So first, an update to zombies coming out in the new set, which is the World Superstars, which comes out next week on the 16th of April. It's called the PM Captor. Now he's a level 4, 1800 attack, 0 defense, zombie type pendulum monster, and he's a dark. So he's 1800 0. His pendulum scale is 5. His pendulum effect is when you pendulum summon a zombie type monster / monsters, you can activate this effect. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect this turn. So I'm assuming if you special summon multiple zombies, they all can't be destroyed by card effects for the rest of the turn or whatever. So that's pretty sweet. And his monster effect is if this card destroys a monster by battle, you can target one pendulum monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So not so fantastic, that one specifically, but it's okay. I can see where you can go off with things like this. You could probably add a few more searches like, what's it called, Summoner's Arts, with maybe the funnel cannon and something like that. Is that light still on? Yes, it is. Let's put you there, hopefully. That'll do. So, yeah, you can probably do something like that, but I don't really know, I don't really see the space being available. But the whole thing for the can't be destroyed by battle card effects, you kind of need the scale really to be able to warrant that. And adding a pendulum monster from your graveyard to your hand, again, not so fantastic, but it is a level 4 zombie type monster dark, which can be added to your build to do funky shenanigans with if you wanted to. So zombie deck build, that's the new support card coming out, so I thought I'd mention that to you guys while I had the chance. So okay, my zombie build. Okay, Unizombie is my main monster. He has 2 separate effects that can only be activated once per turn. The first one is to target a card on the field, pitch a card from your hand to the graveyard, or discard a card from your hand to the graveyard, and increase its level by 1. His second effect is to target one monster on the field, send one zombie type monster from your deck to your graveyard, and increase that monster's level by 1. Only zombie type monsters can attack for the rest of the turn, and you can activate one effect each per turn. So you can activate the first one and the second one in the same turn. Obviously, being able to increase the level manipulation that you can do with Unizombie, which is very, very good. Very, very good. So in my initial video, you won't hear that effect go off because I didn't know that the second effect was a separate effect. I thought it was the same effect. You had to discard, target, increase, and you pitch a card to increase the level, and then you send. But it's not. They're 2 separate effects. So you can just summon Unizombie, target itself to make it level 4, send a Mizuki to graveyard, and so on and so on. You don't have to target another card and pitch a card from your hand unless you want to, of course. So hopefully, hang on, just see if I can. There we go. That worked like a wonder. Lovely jubbly. Right, next up, in any zombie build, you really need to run triple Mizuki. He's your graveyard reviver, and he's awesome. So he's your first target to be foolished. By the way, Unizombie pretty much. His main effect is a foolish burial, so I better bring that one up pretty early on. Let me just move this over a second because that's kind of in the way now. There we go, that'll do. Just do that. That'll do. There we go. Okay, so next up is Double Zombie Master. Sorry about that. I was just trying to adjust the lighting a little bit. Zombie Master is pitch a card from your hand to the graveyard. Well, pitch a monster card from your hand to the graveyard, and special summon one zombie type monster in your graveyard to the field. So, obviously level 4 or lower. Sorry, level 4 or lower zombie type monster from graveyard to the field. So again, good, useful card. He's very, very utility based. I would pump this to 3 if I had the space, but I couldn't find the space. I took one out to put in one of the next cards, so I'll show that now. And it is Tristan, the Knight of the Underworld. Now I enjoy this card. This is the card that I got quite excited about when I first saw it. He is when he's normal summoned, you can target one zombie type monster with 0 defense in your graveyard and add that target to your hand. If you control another zombie type monster other than this card, obviously, this card gains a 300 attack, so he ends up becoming a 21 beta if you've got two zombie type monsters on the field, or other than himself. So he becomes pretty decent, to be honest. And again, if you had 2 Tristans on the field, they both pump each other, so that's always really nice, because it doesn't say except Tristan's Zombie the Underworld. Sorry, let me just quickly reset that camera. Hopefully that's done it. So he pretty much he hits Zombie Master, he hits Uni Zombie, he hits Isold, and I believe that's it. He doesn't hit anybody else, but again, that's pretty much half the deck he hits in terms of returning back from grave to hand. Now this is where the combination between Isold and the Tristan come into play. So Isold, if you control a Tristan Knight of the Underworld, you can special summon this card, which is Isold. So I'll just put it down in front of you. I'm reading the effect from the second one I've got in my hand. You can special summon this card from the hand. Cannot be special summoned by any other ways. You can target up to 2 zombie type monsters you control and declare a level between 5 and 8. They become that level until the end of the turn. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except zombie type monsters. You can only activate the effect, or you can only use the effect of Isold, the Bell of the Underworld, once per turn. So she's pretty much used as an instant level 4 XYZ. Let me just quickly reset the camera. There we go. She's pretty much used for an instant level 4 XYZ. So as long as you control the Tristan, you can add her back to hand, special summoner. The reason you don't want to activate her effect is because she doesn't allow you to do anything else. There's only 2 zombie type monsters that you can actually go into right now, which are level 5 and level 6, which is Brahm, Vampire Brahm is the level 5, and Pilgrim Reaper is the level 6. Pilgrim Reaper is mill top 5 cards, and he gains 200 attack for every dark monster in the graveyard, which is pretty terrible. And Brahm he's not too bad. He's okay. He's a 25 beta, straight up zombie type monster. And when he's sent to the graveyard, I believe he does funky shenanigans like sending cards from opponent's deck to grave or whatever. So he's all right. He's okay, but she will stall plays that you could actually quite easily go into. Let me just quickly reset that again. There we go. But again, because of her limitations in that sense, if she gave you access between 5 and 8 of any monster, that would be absolutely phenomenal. But of course, they had to bring her down a step, and that's the way they did it. Otherwise, she'd be pretty broken, to be honest. Right, so next up, I'm going to play 2 Goblin Zombies. I like Goblin Zombie. He's your searcher. He can be searched when you tribute, when you synchro, when he's destroyed by battle. He searches pretty much everything in the deck except for one card. He's a phenomenal card, and he works with everything. So I use him. I like him. I've seen many zombie builds and zombie decks that don't use Goblin Zombie, but I like him. I like how he works, and he works well for me. Obviously, he's not great as a XYZ material, but he's pretty much good for everything else. Let me just quickly reset that again. Okay, so next up, we got Plague Spreader. Plague Spreader is good for pretty much anything. He's another tuner material. I didn't actually think if I mentioned that Uni Zombie's a tuner, did I? No, I don't think I did. So I'll say that right now. Uni Zombie is a tuner that can manipulate levels. That makes him even better. And he has a Foolish Burial effect, which is even better. I'll say that right now. There we go. Okay, so Plague Spreader. Again, he allows you to get into all sorts of different levels. If you use him with Uni Zombie, you can go even further and do all sorts of different funky shenanigans. Good card, be good. So that's all there is to it. Let's just reset the camera again. There we go. Okay, next up is my first tech I put into this deck when I split apart my Mecha Phantom Beasts. I ran Mathematicians in Mecha Phantom Beast. I thought it was a fantastic card. As soon as I took it out of Mecha Phantoms, it went straight into Zombies because it has the Foolish Burial effect. And any Zombies with Foolish Burial is good. So Mathematician had to go in. Again, he has plays for level 2s, synchros. He has the rank 3 overlays. He's got You can go level 6, 7. You know, there's all sorts of things you can do with Mathematician and the tuners in the deck. So again, he just opens up different plays. So that should be 19 or 20 monsters, something like that, I believe I run. Next up, we've got 3 Book of Life. I like Book of Life. I think it's a great card. You can probably take one out and put in something like Bottomless, or I don't actually run Bottomless in here, and I'll kind of explain why. But you can take it out. You can put in anything. You can put in a Vanities, Bottomless, anything like that. It's all good. Vanities probably will hinder you a lot more than your opponent, but again, you can stun for a turn at the very least with Vanity's Emptiness. And that's that. So Book of Life banishes, as you target a zombie type monster in your grave, banish, target one monster in their grave, you banish theirs, a special summon yours. Done. So, and because it's done simultaneously, both effects activate at the exact same time. So if they target your monster and remove it, you still banish their monster. If they take their monster with Call of the Haunted, you still special summon your monster because the targeting's already happened. So it's good. Alright, back row hate must be done. Triple MST. Again, I probably wouldn't take anything else out for MST. MST is a great card. Sorry about waving my hand on the camera. It's just to reset that fuzz to get on the screen. I'm not too sure if you guys see that when I'm recording, but it does come up on my screen that I have behind me, so I can see it quite clearly behind me. That's why I keep doing it. And the next up is obviously for this fella right here. Is Mask Change the Second. Again, works with Zombie Master. Works with Tristan, works with everything except for obviously Mizuki's and the Mathematician. Everything it works with, including Goblin Zombie, who you can send to Graveyard for a +1. Well, actually, it's a neutral, but you also get a 24 beta that stops your opponent from doing funky shenanigans. So it's always very good to have. And again, someone else, I believe it's yugioh, who had his Skull Servant deck. He put up a new video recently, and he actually was mentioning about using the Mask Change Second with the Dark Law, and I just thought, you know what, if I put it in my zombie deck, it'd be a phenomenal card to have in there, so I thought I'd add it in there. Thank you very much, yugioh, for giving me the heads up on that one. That was sweet, and I will put a link to your channel in my description. So next up, for any zombie players, you always run a Burial from Different Dimension because you're always banishing stuff, so you really, really need that card. So next up is Book of Moon, Regeki, and Dark Hole. Dark Hole you could probably take out for something else, but I like having the double options. It gets you out of, possibly gets you out of things like Vanities, Vanities Lock. It's always a horrible thing to happen if you get caught out of the Vanities, but Dark Hole and Regeki can get you out of it. Again, you can take it out and put something else in if you needed to. It's not absolutely necessary, but it is an option. Next up, Dragon's Mirror, because obviously they're all zombies, and you can hit the what's his name? What is your name? Drago Necro. That's the one. The Nether Soul Dragon. There you go. So that's basically what it's for. Good card. Be good. Does shenanigans. It's funky. It's very good. So that's what it's there for. Next up is Allure of Darkness. Pretty much they're all darks except for the Mizuki and the Mathematician. So it's quite a good chance that you'll be able to do something with it. Foolish Burial. That's the 7th Foolish Burial put into the deck, which is great. Next up, I like this Zombie World. Now it can be a bit of a dead draw, but it also can lock some cards down and some decks down that again are starting to pop up recently. So it can lock them down. It can be quite useful, but again, you could probably change that out for something like Mind Control, or you can change it out for a Bottomless, or you can change it out for Vanities or something like that. You know what I mean? You can always take that out and put something else in. I like the tech for it because again, it allows extra plays to do different stuff. So I like it. It also locks down like machine type decks that are going to machine type synchros. Say for instance something like Cyber Dragons will instantly be locked out because they can't do anything because they have to be machines. I believe Cyber Infinity requires a machine level 5, so it will lock that sort of thing out. It'll also lock out Bujins, things like that. You know, Bujins aren't really coming back, but you know they are there. So it would lock them things down, and hopefully help you out. But again, you can take it out. It's quite an easy card to replace. It doesn't have to be there. I like the tech. Most people don't. So there you go. Next up, the one-ofs. Well, Mirror Force isn't exactly a one-of, but the other ones are. So you've got the Compulse, the Torrential, and Solemn Warning. You can't see them because of the light. There we are. Yay. So, other than Mirror Force, the three traps that I play are all one-ofs. I probably would try and find room for Bottomless if I can find the space, but it is a 40-card deck, and I don't have the space for it. I could probably take something out, like a Book of Life, or what's it, or Zombie World. I can take them out quite quickly, quite easily, and replace them. So that is the main deck. It should be. Well, it is 40 cards, and again, the options are there and available. Right, so extra deck time. We have the two Dark Lords. Again, all you need is that Mask Change the Second and a Dark Monster to get him out, and there you go. You don't even need a Elemental Hero or a Hero Monster to get him out, which is phenomenal. It's kind of insane, to be honest. It's kind of broken, to be honest with you. But there you go. It is what it is. Right, the Necrosol. I don't actually know if people know what his effect is. He's not that great. He's just a 3000 beta, to be perfectly frank. But first must be fusion summoned, and the Dragon's Mirror is a fusion summon, so he can be reborn from the graveyard. If this card, at the end of the damage step, if this card battled a monster that has an original level, that monster's attack becomes 0. Also, if that monster is still face up on the field, special summon 1 Dark Soul token, zombie type, dark level question mark, or level question mark, attack question mark, defense 0. When summoned, it's a level and attack become equal to the original level and attack of the monster that you return to 0. You can only control 1 Draco Necro Neversoul Dragon. So I absolutely butchered that effect, but pretty much if you was to target the Dark Lore, for instance, you go, oh, Dark Lore, okay, I attack you, his level stays the same, his attack becomes 0. Oh, and there goes my light. Oh well. Okay, sorry about that. Give me a second. Let me just reset my light. Ouch, that's hot. Yeah, let's not do that then. That is extremely hot. I ain't fucking about with that. Let's do my hiding. Alright, so let's just bring this over. Okay. So sorry about that. That was pretty hot. Right, so yeah, his level becomes 0. The token that comes out becomes a 6 and 24 attacking token. So it's pretty nasty. He's right. We just make sure. There you go. Yep, comes the original attack and level of the monster that went to 0. So Neversoul, very good card, very strong, and can be really, really useful. So they're my fusions. Alright, so for synchros, sorry about the light going really dim there. My brother knocked the light over, and I burnt my finger. Right, Armades is a great level 5 to go into, pretty much the best level 5 to go into currently. And the reason, I'm going to give a reason right now why I don't run Bottomless right now. A lot of the cards that you would use for Bottomless destroys them, and a lot of cards currently at the moment are immune to destruction effects. So using Bottomless really isn't that great. Torrential, on the other hand, because it affects more than one thing at a time, it can. Same thing with Bottomless. It can do the same thing, but it banishes when it destroys. But I just find that whenever I seem to get Bottomless nowadays, it never comes in handy, whereas Torrential becomes much more handy. The other thing, say for instance with Catasta, for instance, why I would go with this one instead of Catasta, is obviously your opponent can't activate any effects during the damage step, so that one's immediately great because they can't do anything to you. And with Catasta, they can still deprison you, they can still Wabako, they can still mirror force you, things like that. Whereas obviously with the Armades they can't. So that helps a lot. Now this next one, I could probably easily take this next one out, to be honest. It doesn't actually have to be here, but I love the card anyway. It's the Revive King Hades. I love it. Everything in the deck is zombies. If you are using Zombie World, everything is zombies, so it's all protected. And yeah, so it negates all your opponent's effects as well. So you know it's very, very good for what it does. It's fantastic. But the one I'm more than likely going to go into is going to be the Guya Guardian. He's just, oh, let's just steal your monster with a 2800 beating attack and just punch over your face. Done, sorted. Now this next one, I've not actually tested this one. I saw it in the new set that came out, the Premium Gold, and he's basically like a cowboy. When I read his effect, when he's synchro summoned, yeah, when this if this card is special summoned, inflict 800 points of damage to your opponent. Then, then one face-up monster your opponent controls loses 800 attack and defense. You can only use the effect of the Nogon the Starlight once per turn during your once per turn during your main phase. You can normal summon one Blackwing monster in additional to your normal summon. You can only gain that effect once per turn. So when he's special summoned to the field, so if you make him a zombie and you banish Mizuki for him, and you got Zombie World on field, he gets the extra 800 burn as well. So he's actually quite a useful little cowboy. So he's the Blackwing cowboy basically, and easy to get out as well. He's a generic, so you can get him out with Goblin Zombie and Play Spreader. Bang, done, sorted, finished. For level 8 dragons, we've got the Stardust, we've got the Dark End, and we've got Scrap Dragon. Now, if I had Beals, I'd take Beals out, or I'd take the Dark End out for Beals. If I had the what's his name? If I had Void Ogre, I'd probably take Scrap Dragon out for Void Ogre. And if Stardust Spark Dragon was live, oops, sorry, let me just put them in frame because they're not in frame. So I would take the Scrap Dragon out, the Dark End out, and the Stardust. I'd probably take the Stardust out for Spark when it becomes live, but he's not live currently, so yeah, can't use him. So Stardust is always good to use in that case. Alright, so for XYZs, I'm going Levier the Sea Dragon, gets like banished level 4 or lower monsters back from banished zone, special summons them, Mizuki, Funky Shenanigans, and so on and so on. Next up is another cowboy. Got to be done. Again, you could probably replace cowboy with something else if you're going to go with the Nathond. Then obviously you've got your 8th Foolish Burial in Lavarval Chain. You've then got 101 Silent Honor Arc, which currently at the moment isn't so great, but he's still useful, but just not as great. And then obviously the last one is Castell, which is an awesome monster currently. He's doing a lot of work in terms of the meta and just general play, so very good. Now in terms of the extra deck, what I would take out, obviously I told you what I'd take out in terms of these three, so I'd probably take them out and put in a Beals, a Void Ogre Dragon, and if I could Spark, possibly something else. It doesn't have to be. Stardust is still quite a good card to use. He's a good card, so it's well worth using. I'd probably take the Honor Arc out currently. It's probably the weakest one of these. Maybe the Cowboy. Maybe Honor Arc and Cowboy I'd take out, especially if you were going to be running North of Starlight. What else would I take out? Possibly the Dark Ruler Hades, replace him with something else that could be a bit more utility. Maybe go with Sparks and Stardust Dragon by taking out the Hades. It just opens plays for you. That's also quite useful and quite good. And in terms of anything extra that I could put in here, I would put in a Mind Control. If I could take anything else, I'd probably put it in Mind Control. I'd probably put in a Bottomless Trap Hole, maybe a Vanity's Emptiness, depending on circumstance, depending on what you need to do. But that is pretty much my build at the moment. And it's playtesting has been okay, it's been good, but then again the last deck that I built, the playtesting, I've done 3 duels with it and I won all 3 of them literally Unizombie first, like Unizombie one turn, just straight in with the board, Mizuki's everywhere, and it went really, really well, so it can be really, really useful. Oh, sorry about that. That's probably my arrangement to go to the tournament tomorrow. I still play competitively, so that's always good. Again, I play a lot of fun decks competitively, let's put it that way. Probably taking UAs tomorrow. So yeah, that's pretty much my zombie deck. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Ta-da.